Hi, my name's Summer May Finlay. We are at the International Indigenous Health and Wellbeing Conference, and I'm here with Bruce Pascoe, who I have to say I'm really pleased to meet you, and your book is fabulous, and that was probably one of the best speeches that I have ever heard, so thank you. Can you introduce yourself a little bit for us?
Yeah, my name's Bruce Pascoe. I'm a writer. I'm Bunurong, Yuin and Tasmanian, and I'm just telling a story that is very old, and I'm just one of many people currently telling that story, and it's surprising that it's taken this long for the rest of Australia to listen.
Absolutely. I have to say, as a young woman, Aboriginal woman, growing up, I didn't hear the story that you were telling, and I know that it is an important story to tell. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the stuff you spoke about in your presentation around our civilization and actually how we were creating a civilization well before other people were in the world?
Yeah, what the old people did was really remarkable, not just in Australian terms but world terms, because faced with the problem of managing humans, a very difficult animal, our old people came up with this way of socialising people which relied on peace. There were no kings and queens, no soldiers, there were just people, men and women, equal in their responsibilities, and it was such a sophisticated society, and it was produced so early, and it's so frustrating to think that it was just entirely dismissed by Europeans as being too simple to worry about, and yet the whole basis of it is so profound. And the world is aching for a solution like this now, and it is our culture.
Absolutely, and it's very good to be telling this story, and I'll be using your book. I teach at Wollongong Uni. I actually live down near your country, so beautiful country down that way. And one of the things that I've actually been hearing more and more about is the way we were caring for country and how our caring for country practices can be used to reduce the impact of climate change.
Yeah, fundamental to our culture, and I'm talking about Yuin culture because that's my law. We have to be very, very respectful of country, and when we want something from country, be it a branch off a tree or a log on the ground, we've got to ask for it. And that just makes you so conservative. Right? It just sounds like a little thing, does it matter? But as soon as you do it, you have to physically go there and thank the tree, thank the rock, thank the water, and it slows you down. It slows your mind down, and it slows your need down, because you think, how badly do I need it? It's an incredibly conservative approach and a very caring approach to country. It means that you are conscious of everything you use.
Absolutely. And you talked about a particular farmer who's using sustainable practices. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that for me?
Well, there's been this enormous enthusiasm for the ideas, and a lot of Australian farmers are battling. Climate change has knocked them. There's been a long-term drought in parts of New South Wales and Queensland and Victoria, and those farmers are desperate. They've either got to give up their land or do something else. So a lot of them are going, well, we'll change our practice. Change to perennial plants. You can still graze them. You can take the seed off and sell the seed, but you don't have to plough. The plant, that beautiful Australian plant, whether it's kangaroo grass or panicum, has got this massive root system. It's sequestering carbon, it's caring for the soil, and it's regenerative farming. But our old people knew it just as loving mother.
Yeah. And I was watching your slides about yams. I grew up on Lake Macquarie, and we have little white yams that I used to go out into the garden and pick and eat the lily pillies off the tree. And one of the things that struck me was that, you were talking about how Australian society describes our stuff as in bush tucker, which diminishes the foods and diminishes the the produce we're getting from our own country.
Colonial practice. You have to, in order to validate your possession of the land, you have to diminish the qualities of the people who went before you, and that's the case. And we have to reverse that. We have to insist on our people's excellence and care and productivity in the face of a really extractive way of farming, destructive as well as extractive, and we have to share this with the rest of Australia. You know, I'm advised by Uncle Max that if you want to keep your culture, you've got to give it away, because if we hold it on to it ourselves, it'll die with us. So we have to share it, but we have to insist on its ownership. You know, it's ours.
Yeah, no, and my mum always talks about something a little bit similar, how we bring people in, but it's still ours.
Yeah.
And, you know, there is so much I could ask you, but if there was one take-home message that you could actually send to the people watching online or the people that aren't at the conference about our culture and about the histories as you know it compared to the histories that are taught, what would that be?
It'd be that thing about the foundation of peace in our society. Not that we didn't blue with each other, we're human, you know, we did it then, we're still doing it now, but fundamentally we're a society of peace. And in some ways Australia has benefited from that peacefulness, because there's never been, you know, racial violence to any great extent in this country. There's a bloody good excuse for it, but there never has been, because our people generally want to try and sort things out. Yeah. And I hope Australia appreciates the fact that our old people's patience still continues.
No, fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we sign off?
No, just that it was so an honour to be on this land and be asked to speak on this land.
And it was an honour to listen to you. And if you haven't read Dark Emu, I suggest you do.